All right, hi guys, welcome to PKSR classes. This is CA Prasanna Kumar over here. So I've come up with very important video, okay, that has been requested by many CA Inter students. So this is the OG analysis, okay. I would like to call it OG because I've put in that sort of an effort, okay. So of last 15 attempts, okay, I've done it, and the thing is. You can also call this as ABC analysis because anyway, I'm going to categorize all the chapters into A category, B category, and C category. Logically speaking, you can just study A and B and ignore the C, or you can also call this as important chapter analysis because once I'm done with this analysis, anyway, you guys are going to know what are all the important chapters that you're going to need to pass the CA Inter costing exams, right? A costing paper. Also, what I've done is that I have the definite strategy over here where you can just cover 55% of the syllabus and still get 75 to 80 marks, still attempt 75 to 80 marks. Okay, not getting 75 to 80, but as you know, once you are able to attempt for 75 to 80, you must be on an average getting more than 50. That is kind of exceptional cases where you don't have time to study the whole syllabus. But anyway, having said that, let's start with the analysis over here. So if you can see, from May 18 I've covered till Jan 25. Okay, and for September and Jan 25, because the exam paper pattern has got changed, I've added the MCQ questions as well. I mean, the marks that has been allotted for MCQ. Even it is there for May 24 as well, but unfortunately, I was not able to get the data. So whatever the marks analysis that I've done for May 24, it accounts for only 88 marks. Okay, because I'm not able to do for 100 marks. Why? Because I was not able to get the MCQ data. Sorry for that. Right, I tried my level best, but I was not able to get it. In case if you guys are able to do that, just put it in the comment section. If you have the link, I'll be able to take that, and then I'll be able to put those marks over here. Anyway, having said that, now let's start with the first chapter. You have intro to CMA. If you can see, on an average, it's coming for 5 marks. There are 2 attempts where no question has been asked, and as you can see, it is immediately backed by 10 marks. So they wanted to compensate it on an average 5. Okay, and last 2 attempts also, if you can see, the recent attempt, nope. And in September 24, when I've written something in green, it means that mostly it's an MCQ. So in that case, this comes under, sorry, this is C category. So in that case, this mostly comes under C category. So which means if you want, you can skip this particular chapter. I think September 24 only one theory question has come, I think so, if I'm not wrong, right? Chalo. So this chapter belongs to C category. So sir, can I ignore this? Yes. But however, in the basics chapter, there are a lot of basic concepts like opportunity cost and stuff like that, which the application will come in the later chapter. So therefore, I don't think you can ignore it completely. But as usual, as I said, that belongs to C category. Next, material. Of course, very important chapter, 15, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 5, 10, 10, 15, 10, 5, on an average 10 marks, right? Over here. Here also, even in the September 24, it was 10 marks case scenario and plus 2 marks over here. So totally around 12, and I think 10 marks in Jan 25. So on an average, you have got material chapter for 10 marks. Okay, you got the point, right? So therefore, this definitely belongs to which category? A category. So definitely material belongs to A category, Nana. So A category means in any case, you should not miss it. That's for sure. Now moving on to next one. Next one is obviously employee cost, which is labor. That's also important chapter. 15, 5, 10, 10, 15, 10, 10, 10, 10, 6, 10, 10, 14. So on an average, I think it's coming for near to 10 marks. Last 2 attempts, it's around 8 and 7. Got the point? So you can also take it as on an average 10 marks because except for last 2 attempts, which was 8 and 7, earlier cases, it used to get lot of marks. Okay, on an average, it's 10. But then that's okay. We can also take it as 8 marks, but still that falls into A category. So it's a chapter compulsorily you have to study. Now moving on to overheads. Let's look at the overheads next chapter. 10, 15, 15, 10, 10, 10, 5, 10, 10. One attempt it has been missed, 2 attempts, and then 10, 10 after that. In this attempt, I think probably MCQs would have been there. So thereby we can't say that overhead has been missed because overhead is kind of chapter where you'll get a compulsory question every single attempt. And last but one attempt, 7 marks. Last attempt, it was almost like 10 marks. Okay. So which means on an average, even for overheads also, we can say it will come for 10 marks. It is really important, compulsory chapter, and definitely it falls under A category. So which means you have to study for sure. And coming on to ABC, ABC is a continuation of overheads, right? It is just refined version of overheads. So therefore, it should be not that difficult for you to, continue ABC after overheads chapter. And that is also important because the size of the chapter is relatively small. If you can ask me, if you compare the size of the syllabus that you have to cover versus the marks, then I would rather say the risk reward ratio for ABC is better than overheads. In fact, in that case, if you look at from risk reward perspective, cost sheet is the most important chapter in your syllabus. When I see it from risk reward perspective in the sense, how much is the effort that I'm putting in, how many hours I'm giving to that particular chapter, in return, how many marks I'm getting. See, overheads definitely you get good amount of marks, but the point is how many hours you put in to study big chapter called overheads, right? That also we should take into consideration. So if you compare these two back to back, I would rather say from risk reward perspective, ABC is even more important than overheads. As you can see, 5, 10, 5, 10, 10, 10, 15, 10, 10, 19, 10, 15, 8. And then here if you can see 8 and 10 case scenario has come in the last attempt. So therefore ABC is definitely important chapter, especially in terms of marks it's on par with ORETs, but in terms of risk reward ratio, ABC is more important than ORETs. So you should not be plainly looking at how many marks you are getting from one particular chapter. You should also be looking at risk reward ratio, how much efforts I'm going to put into a particular chapter, and then how many marks I'm expected to get. So there are two chapters which will give you same kind of marks like overheads and ABC or even cost sheet for that matter. But cost sheet is relatively very small chapter. It takes very less amount of time when compared to covering overheads. Although both of them gives you same marks in exam, but cost sheet is important, right? That's the way you have to prepare. Anyways, so in that case, ABC is better than overheads, and of course it's A category. You have to study for sure. Moving on to next one, cost sheet, the most important chapter in your entire syllabus. Not only you'll get good amount of marks, but the effort that it takes to cover the chapter is relatively less. As you can see, it's like a sixer, 10, 10, 10, 10. Can you see that? Right? Almost it's consistent 10. Right. After that, if you can see here, 8 and 9. So it's good. Okay, 1 or 2 marks that might miss out on an average, but it's a very, 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 very important chapter. That's why even when I've written here, the first chapter that I've written is cost sheet. And I've given it 10 marks just because last two attempts it has come 8 and 9. That doesn't mean that it's not going to come on an average for 10 marks, na? Because earlier you see, almost literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 attempts, 10 marks, right? Anyways, moving on. So most important chapter in your entire syllabus from risk reward perspective is cost sheet. Moving on to next one. And of course, it belongs to A category, so it's compulsory. Moving on. Cost accounting systems. 5, 10, 10, 5, 5, 0, 10, 5, 5, 10, 5, 4, and 12. So this is relatively not so regular when it comes to cost accounting systems. Okay. And here also 5 and 9. Okay, so it's a kind of irregular. You can either put this into A category or B category, but I would rather say put it into A category only because anyway you're gonna get a compulsory question from this particular chapter. But however, the chapter takes good amount of time to study, and so in A category only, it's not among the most important chapters. That's why I did not put it over here. As you can see, you don't find cost accounting systems over here. Correct? Right? Anyways, moving on. But still, it belongs to A category. Moving on to next one. Unit and batch costing, of course, as you can see, how many zeros are there? Definitely, it's not that important. Last but one attempt we have, last attempt, no. So therefore, it belongs to C category. So you want to skip? Yes, you can. Moving on to next one. Job costing. Okay, not so bad. 10, 5, 10, 5, 5, 5, 0, 5, 10, 5, 10, 10, 10, 0. Okay, and here we have got 4, and that too it's a theory question because I've kept it in brackets, and last attempt it was nothing, so therefore it belongs to B category. So B category means you should study, but you study after A category. Okay, in exceptional situations if you want to skip, yes you can, that also you can do. Sir, it's a kind of emergency, sir, I can't study the whole thing, I want to skip, you can. Right, moving on. Process costing, of course, 10, 5, 10, 10, 10, 5, 10, 5, 10, 10, 15, 5, and 8. If you can see the process costing over here, 12 and then 8. Okay, so therefore I would rather say this belongs to A category only. Okay, after I mean considering the MCQs in the last two attempts, it belongs to A category. But of course, it's not that consistent. If you can see, sometimes half the marks, okay, sometimes full marks, but still it's an important chapter. Okay, it belongs to A category, so you have to study it for sure. Joint and byproducts, of course not. As you can see, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, mostly 5s, rarely 10s. And here when it comes to joint and byproducts, last time it was a theory question, and this time it's just 2 marks, that 2 MCQ, right? 1 MCQ I think so, if I'm not wrong. Therefore you can put it in C category or B category, your wish. I would rather put it in C category. If you want to skip it, you can skip it, right? Moving on to next one, service sector costing. Important, 10, 10, 10, 15, 15, 15, literally 15 3 times, right? And then on an average you're getting 10. Of course there are some 5s and 6s. And what about here? 5 and then 8 plus 5, 13 marks in the last attempt. Okay, latest attempt. So therefore, in next attempt, maybe it can come on an average, but no way it's gonna come less than 8 marks. So therefore, it belongs to A category and it is important. However, service sector is a kind of chapter where just like overheads, it's gonna take good amount of time to cover the entire syllabus of that particular chapter. So in that scenario, yeah, it's a kind of, yeah, you got to, but ultimately you're gonna get 8 to 10 marks on an average from that particular chapter. So you decide, but that's a chapter you cannot skip. You have to study it for sure. Right, after that, what do we have? Standard costing, yeah, my favorite. 5, 5, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 15, 10, 10, 10, almost except 2, 3 attempts, it's 10 or more. Except 2, 3 attempts, it's 10 or more. Last but one attempt, 11.5. Last attempt, 10. So which means on an average, compulsory you'll get it for 10 or more. So most important chapter. If you know the trick, you can just follow standard costing videos I've put in my channel. If you can follow that, initially it will be little bit, it will be pinching you. It's just like learning to drive a car for the first time, trying to balance your two-wheeler for the first time. But once you know, standard costing will be the easiest chapter. You understand the point? And right now, the syllabus is also relatively small in standard costing. You just have material, labor, variable overhead, fixed overhead. That's all. Nothing else is there. No sales variances, nothing doing reconciliation. No other thing is there. Syllabus has been really reduced. So from that risk reward perspective, this will be the second most important chapter after your, which one? Cost sheet. Cost sheet is most important from risk reward perspective. Next it would be standard costing. Okay, the efforts that you put in, yes, initially it will be little bit pinching, but that's good. Next, marginal costing, another favorite chapter of mine. 5, 10, 10, 5, 5, 15, 15, 10, 10, 10, 5, 11, 11. On an average 10 marks. Last, before attempt, 11, 13 marks. Last attempt, 16 marks literally. Of course, in that 5 mark question is mixed with overheads and marginal costing. You see, this is where ICI really surprises you. Last time when it has come nearly for 13 marks, many of them would have thought that, okay, this attempt that many marks will not be coming. This attempt it was even more. So that is the reason always never come to a conclusion that just because last attempt from a particular chapter so many marks has been asked, in next attempt it will not at all come or it will come for less marks. Okay, ICA will surprise you. So this also belongs to A category. You have to study for sure. And this will be the third most important chapter after cost sheet and standard costing. Now moving on to the last. Budgeting 15, 10, 5, 15, 10, 10, 10. Once upon a time it was good, but since MCQs has come, it is 4 marks, 6 and 2.5 is theory, and then 10 marks, which is a case scenario. So it is, yeah, kind of. Then in that case, everything we need to put it in A category only. Budgeting also, there's a lot of theory in the chapter. So therefore, many of the students are not comfortable with budgeting. So in that case, I would rather put it under the B category. B category means you have to study for sure. C category means you can ignore. But in an emergency situation, maybe, but I would not advise you. But because as you can see, you're getting good marks in budgeting as well. But the problem with budgeting is it's a theory dominated chapter, absolutely, right? So if you're okay with that, then you can have it in your A category as well. If you're not at all good with theory, many students tell me that, sir, budgeting, what is this kind of theory, sir? So much of dry theory, unnecessary theory is there, sir. How can we cover the whole stuff? Then in that case, you can just ignore it. Okay. Just cover the basics, the most important part of the budget, and then you can ignore it. Okay. Coming on to the most important part. So here what you can do, totally we have 15 chapters, okay, in our entire syllabus, 15 chapters. Out of that, my advice would be you cover 9 out of 15, which means around 60% of your syllabus. You will be able to attempt for 85 to 90 marks. Sir, I can't do this, sir, means then from this you can remove one chapter or you can remove material chapter also. Then you can cover 8 out of 15 and you'll be covering literally 55% of the syllabus and you'll be getting 75 to 80 marks. Whichever you want, you can follow. But my advice would be follow this. Cover 60% of the syllabus. Okay, 60% Nana, which means 40% is gone. It's like 2/3. You will be covering only 2/3. Okay. 60% of the syllabus, you will be getting 85 to 90 marks. So which means these chapters, cost sheet, standard costing, marginal costing, activity based costing, overheads, budgeting, service sector costing, labor and material, which will account for 60% of the syllabus, which is 9 out of 15 chapters. You will be almost forgiving 6 chapters. Still you will be able to attempt these many marks. Okay, 85 to 90. It can be 85 also, either or, because we are taking averages. No, sir, means you can try this as well. 8 out of 15 and 75 to 80 marks you can attempt. But I would rather say add material chapter also and go for this, right? I hope this particular research, what I've done, it's not a research, it's just a work that I've done, labor work. Anyways, I hope this last 15 attempts work, what I've done, will really help you guys to really write your exams in a better way by trying to analyze which are important chapters based on the actual data rather than going with blind prediction. Okay. And if you guys want any other help with respect to CA intercosting, just put it in the comments. I'll see that, and then definitely I'll make a video on the same. Right, guys, thank you so much. All the best. Cheers.